right, so good morning, good afternoon, welcome in across the continent, everybody. My name is Jesse. I'm here with Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants, and I know we've got a lot of familiar faces in the crowd today with our over 800 kids signed up for this, but I know there's quite a few of you who are joining us for the very first time, and so we are all about bringing conservation, adventure, and science into classrooms around the world. And I want to say before I get in with the official introduction that we always encourage kids to dance during that countdown bit at the beginning. And like some of you guys did amazingly. Mrs. Parrish's class, Wadina, like you guys killed it. You guys are amazing dancers. So way to go. If you guys are joining us, you may know that this is part of our epic Peak Discovery series in conjunction with the amazing folks at Parks Canada's Mountain Parks. The mountain parks in Alberta and BC are not just some of the most beautiful places in Canada, but some of the most beautiful places on planet Earth. So we're so lucky to have the chance to go there, in this case, literally out into the field in the mountains to share some incredible stories of their conservation, their cultural work, the work that they do to protect the habitats and species in their parks. So thank you all so much for being here as part of this. And check out the full series below. We've got a few more programs coming up with them. We've got like 8 others we've done in the past in the year alone. It's been a really, really good time. But I'm going to turn you over to Kelsey and the Parks team for Park Patrol 2.0 with our K9 unit. We're going to learn a little bit about what they do with a lot of puns in the description of what this program's about, and to learn a little bit about the K9 units that are there helping protect our park. So without further ado, thank you so much, Banff team, and welcome to the broadcast.
Thanks, Jesse, and thank you everyone for joining us here today in Banff National Park. My name is Kelsey. I work on the outreach team for Parks Canada, which means I do a lot of programs like this where I talk to students and visitors about what makes the park special, like this beautiful mountain landscape and the snow behind me. We want to acknowledge that Banff National Park is within the present-day territories of Treaty 6, 7, and 8, as well as the Métis homeland. The lands and waters of Banff National Park have been used for millennia by Indigenous peoples for sustenance, ceremony, trade, and travel. We thank them for their continuous stewardship and for sharing the land with us. Now, joining me here today are 2 members from Parks Canada's Visitor Safety and Law Enforcement team. So I'm actually going to step behind the camera and let them take over. You will still hear me in the background asking some questions though. So Ian, go ahead, step up and you can introduce yourself.
Hi. My name's Ian Jackson. I'm a visitor safety specialist with Banff, Yoho, and Kootenay National Parks.
Thanks, Ian. And what does visitor safety do?
We do all the backcountry rescues. So that's anything off of the parking lot or pavements on a trail that's not accessible by a road. We do avalanche forecasting. And what that is we try to predict when avalanches are going to occur. There are some avalanche pads that can run down to the highways in the park, and so we do avalanche control. So we close the highways and we trigger avalanches when the highways are closed to keep the highways safe from people driving through the park. And then we also write a bulletin for people that want to go into the backcountry, and we describe the avalanche conditions and give them ideas on how to stay safe in the backcountry from avalanches.
Perfect. Thanks, Ian. Logan, go ahead and introduce yourself. You're up.
I'm Logan. I'm part of the dog handler team. The other part of our team is Leroy. Leroy's in the truck because he's too loud and he'll probably tackle the camera.
And Logan, what does the K9 unit do?
A lot of things. You know, the one thing we do a lot of in the park is search for people. So we're searching for people who are lost, and we're searching for people who might have done something wrong and they need to be found by law enforcement teams.
Amazing. All right, Ian, you are back up. We're going to chat about what the visitor safety uniform looks like.
So it's flexible. It's also known as our personal protective equipment. And the ideas are that it's non-cotton, so it doesn't absorb water. It's warm enough for whatever the weather is when we go out, and high visibility so that we can be seen from a helicopter if we're doing a helicopter mission, or if we are missing ourselves, or easy to find.
And what about special gear and equipment? And I can pan the camera over to that table if you'd like.
Yeah, we got lots of equipment. Half my job is moving duffel bags to vehicles and back to the office. But I'll start with our skiing equipment. So we've got backcountry skis and poles and skins that allow us to skin uphill or move uphill and then change into downhill skis and go downhill. We've got avalanche safety equipment, shovel, probe, and an avalanche beacon that allows us to be findable when we're in avalanche terrain and we have the chance of getting buried by an avalanche. Got my ski touring backpack and my avalanche airbag pack that keeps me safe if I trigger an avalanche. And for helicopter rescue, we if we can't land a helicopter nearby, we'll use a heli sling system that allows us to be about 120 feet below the helicopter and be inserted into terrain where the helicopter can't land. So for that, I have a harness and a chest harness and a helmet with a radio headset that allows me to talk to the helicopter pilot when I'm in flight. We also have a lot of ice climbing, waterfall ice climbing in Banff, Yoho, and Kootenay National Parks, and so we have PPE and equipment to do that safely, and that's sturdy mountaineering boots with crampons, allow you to kick into the ice, and ice axes.
Amazing. Ian, I think some of that gear relates to a rescue story that you had told me at some point. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, I actually, we just had one a few weeks ago that was pretty interesting. We got an SOS from a Spot satellite communication device. And what those ones tell us that somebody's in trouble, but they don't tell us what's going on. So we got this Spot notification, and it was about an hour before darkness. So we quickly called the helicopter, flew out to Lake Louise. Unfortunately, we couldn't fly to the site, which was in Yoho National Park because of fog. So we had to change plans and go in at night by ground. Eventually, we were able to snowmobile and ski tour up to where the Spot notification was coming from. And we found out that it was a snowboarder stuck about 30 meters above the ground in the middle of a snowy cliff. They're okay, but they couldn't go up and they couldn't go down. We couldn't get to them at night safely, so we camped nearby. And then we tried to come in with the helicopter the next day, but again, it was too foggy. So we had to ski with some ropes, and we ski toured up above them, and we lowered down and picked this guy up who spent about 20 hours on this ledge. He was okay. He was a little cold, and he had a good story, but he's very happy to get down.
Oh my goodness. Ian, why did you want to work in visitor safety with Parks Canada?
Well, it's a great career. It's stable, and you get to be outside and you work with a great team of people.
What training is required for your job?
Training to be a Association of Canadian Mountain Guides mountain guide and Canadian Avalanche Association Avalanche professional. We do swiftwater training. That's more in the summer. I didn't bring any of that equipment. And we do a lot of on-the-job training, working with explosives for helicopter control. Lots of stuff that we just pick up on the job.
What's your favorite part of your job?
Well, being outdoors and enjoying this awesome environment we live in. Yeah.
Amazing. Logan, you're back up. We'll shift the camera over to our spot here.
Yeah.
And you can take it away and tell us a little bit more about the Canine Unit's uniform and what that looks like.
Oh yeah, so same thing as Ian, like it's PPE. So we have basically what job I'm doing at the time. There's several uniforms that we have to wear. There's the winter uniform that I'm in kind of right now. And then I have a summer uniform to Ian for visitor safety stuff. Then we have our summer uniform where it's a bit different. But for the most part, I'm wearing a vest every day for law enforcement. My gun belt with all my equipment on it that I have to use in certain scenarios. So kind of depends what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you also have a uniform when you're swimming in the water with the dog.
Okay, and what about specialized gear and equipment? What does that piece look like?
Yeah.
Much the same.
Much the same
Yeah.
as Ian's. Like we have all the same gear for that stuff because we do similar roles. Ian's mostly taking me and putting me into places, but places where we need the dog, where Ian needs the dog to find someone, then he'll put us in there with all the same kind of equipment. But then other than that, Leroy has a lot of equipment. So he has this little harness that you'll see him in today when we get him out of the truck. He has a harness that he can suspend underneath the helicopter, but he can work in it too. He works in it as well. And then he has his tracking harness that he uses kind of daily just to track people and to search for people. Then he actually has a little water vest because he's a princess and he needs his little water vest. So when he's in the we're searching in water, we'll swim it. And he'll have a life jacket on, basically, and then he'll actually have another neoprene layer under the life jacket to keep him warm. One thing we have found with Leroy is he gets pretty cold, so we have to deal with that problem.
Yeah. And why did you want to be a canine dog handler with Parks Canada?
Oh, because it's the only one. Yeah, to do this job, it's really unique. It's the only one in Canada of its kind. And I used to work as a dog handler for Sunshine Village. So this was the only job you could do like this professionally, pretty much in North America. So yeah, I think all of my friends who are dog handlers all wanted to do this job.
Yeah, that makes sense. What sort of training was required?
A lot.
Yeah.
It's painful. But no, similar, the qualifications you need, there's quite a few. It's, you know, a diploma or degree in natural sciences, and then also to be an Avalanche professional. Then there's a lot of experience that we needed to have, similar to what Ian has, but not to that degree in terms of being able to ice climb, being a touring, being in the backcountry, all those different things. So, and then you have to do all the dog training. So going away with the RCMP, training as a warden to be able to do this job, and then training as a dog handler with the RCMP. And I was with them for 8 months.
Wow. And what is your favorite part of the job?
I would say Leroy, but some days that's not true. My favorite part of the job? Finding people. Yeah. It doesn't happen every day, but when you have those successes and you really put all the stuff that you've been working really hard at together, it's awesome. It's worth it. Really love it.
I bet. Okay, thank you, Logan, and thank you, Ian. So for everyone watching in their classrooms right now, things are going to get a little bit shaky. I'm taking the phone off our tripod, and I'm going to mount it on another device because it's time to see our experts in action. So we are going to travel over to the vehicle where Leroy the dog is currently hanging out.
Yeah.
And you might even be able to see some skiing in action. Nope, we're just gonna walk.
Okay, I can ski if you want. Wow.
Okay, let's get things adjusted here. Gonna turn on our stabilizer and it will, bear with me, get a little smooth and stable. There we go. All right, we're on the move. So we're gonna show you how the canine unit helps support visitor safety with lots of different rescue operations. So in the winter, for example, that would be an avalanche rescue. Leroy, as a dog, has a very powerful nose, which can help find people buried under the snow. But of course, Leroy has to train for this kind of rescue operation. And what we're going to show you is one of those little exercises that Leroy will do to be prepared. So we're coming up over the hill here. You can see we've had to stomp down a path in the snow. The snow is about thigh deep, and it's hard to walk at times.
Okay, so one of the things we try and do is we want to uncover someone buried in the snow, right? So what do? Well, we bury Ian in the snow. And the idea is this is simulating exactly what we want the dog to do. We'll get him ready, and then we're going to pile up snow in front of him and kind of make a wall that Leroy, fingers crossed, can dig Ian out of, hopefully. And then Ian's got a rag in front of him, and that rag is something that Leroy loves playing with.
Logan, do you need any help there?
No,
you got it?
Yeah. We're going to cut off bigger chunks here so get a little noisy.
This is our first ever snow burial in 3,000 plus broadcasts in the history of Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants, and it is amazing.
Amazing. Ian, how are you feeling in there? Nice and warm.
Is it really?
I am a little claustrophobic, so I don't
So you
know
don't
if
wanna
I
get
can
in the
do
hole?
that.
Come on now. Oh, you can hear Leroy.
So we've got our experts setting up this training exercise for Leroy, but it is important to remember for all of you watching at home that this is a training exercise done by the experts, so probably not a great game to play in your backyard. We're gonna make sure Ian comes out of this safe and happy.
Yeah. And that Leroy is doing his job nice.
Okay,
You get in there, Ian? Yep.
almost got the hole covered.
Okay. Should we chuck some snow on Ian as well? Okay, so you can see that it's all covered up, right? And so Leroy's job is just to find out where the scent's coming from. So we're gonna get Leroy out, the crazy knucklehead. But before we do that, we kind of want to mess it up a little bit, right? Because if we don't mess it up, the dog's just gonna go straight for the place we were. He's gonna be able to see it. So if we dig a little hole here, you guys think we can trick Leroy into thinking that's what he's gonna search for? Let's see. Okay. So, Leroy. We better get a leash from him because he's kind of crazy.
I know this is one of the moments everyone has been waiting for. Don't know if you can hear Leroy in the background there.
Okay, big guy. Easy. So this is our big guy Leroy, and Leroy is a 5-year-old German Shepherd out of the kennels. He's kind of crazy, but pretty happy, and he knows what he's doing already, right? So you're gonna come to me on the other side, just so that he's not facing you, and we clip Leroy up to his harness, and then we put him between our legs. We want him to search just the same way every time, okay? You guys ready? Search. Oh, he's totally gonna cheat.
He knew right away.
Okay. Good boy! Who's that good boy? Who's the best dog? You get a good dog! And that's it. Leroy's gonna probably go pee. Leroy. Back. Shoot. Down. Okay. So that's Leroy's prize. This is big rag. And this is how we train it for Leroy. We basically take this idea and then we just make it more complex. Oh, you are so angry. Oh, you are so angry. Oh, yes, you are. I know, you're the best boy. You're the best boy. Oh, the best boy. Okay. And that's it.
Logan, how many of these training sessions do you have to do before you're ready to go out and do the real thing?
I don't know. A lot.
A lot.
Yeah, so normally for civilian teams it's about 2 years
Okay.
for them to get on the road. 1.5 years, 2 years. And then for Leroy, it's a bit quicker because he spends his entire life doing this.
Yeah.
That's all he does. Okay, before he rips it apart, we better take it off him. Hey, knucklehead. Out. Leave it. Back. Down. Stay. I know. Quietly. No, quietly. Stay, please.
And Leroy's back in the car.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. It takes us a long time to get. This is like where we start.
Yeah.
And then we start doing things for articles, researching just for this.
Okay.
That way you can put it deeper in the snow and they can search for multiples really easy and that kind of thing.
Okay. Perfect. So everyone, we're going to walk back to our original spot. And Jesse, maybe you can throw up on the screen right now those pro tips because, of course, we have experts like Ian and Logan and Leroy who are here to help, but it is still your responsibility to be prepared when you visit the national parks. So check out some of these pro tips. They're especially important to remember in wintertime. You definitely want to dress for the weather, and that means warm and weatherproof layers, lots and lots of layers. You want to leave early in the day and allow lots of time for your trip, especially in winter. It gets dark really early. And then also tell someone, like a friend or family member, where you are going and when you plan to return so that if you don't make it back, someone is there to call for help and get something like a rescue started. You want to bring a first aid kit, an emergency communication device. So I know Ian had mentioned something like a spot device, a satellite phone, because unlike in the city, cell service here really isn't very reliable. So make sure, keep all of those things in mind. There are also lots of resources online you can check out so you know what to bring, how to be prepared, and how to plan ahead. All right, Jesse, we are back at our location.
Can I?
I'm gonna.
Okay. We're going to Q&A in a minute. I'm going to go to all our classes. We're going to have a really substantial Q&A. I'm going to throw professional detachment out the window. That was one of the best programs ever. Like, that was so amazing. Also, like, not that I want to get lost in the mountains, but I have absolute confidence in Ian, Logan, and Leroy that they would save me if I did. Like, that was amazing. I like that we threw some shade at the dog, too, for the water vest. That was very enjoyable. It has been all around an incredible thing. All the classes on YouTube are like losing it. So thank you to our amazing audience today, everybody.
Okay.
So we're going to go live with Q&A. YouTubers, you guys are sharing a lot of questions already. That is fantastic. Keep that up. We'll take as many as we can. And I will note, I know we're going to have more questions that we can possibly take in this broadcast. You can email us at exploringbytheseatofyourpants. I'll make sure you all have that. This email address at the end if you registered. If you have any more questions, I'll pass it to the parks team and we can take even more. But we're going to start with our live classes. Wadena Elementary, we're going to head to Saskatchewan first. If you guys want to kick us off with a question, come on up to the camera and take us away. Hey, guys.
Come on.
Forward.
What's the worst situation that's ever happened in the mountains?
Wow.
Cool. I think Ian.
Well, I got a little cut on my nose right now in the snow, but luckily I have a first aid kit. But that's not the worst situation.
Gosh, I don't know. You know, one of the parts of doing this job, unfortunately, is people do pass away. So we do our best to save everybody we see, but accidents happen in the park, and that's inevitable. We try to do our best, but every one of those incidents that we all go through are really tough. So no matter how big those are and how many people they involve, every single one, I would say, is some of the most difficult ones for all of us.
That's a very thoughtful answer, right? And that's something that I'm glad you guys talk about in these programs. We've talked about this in some of our other past programs with Parks Canada. It's not something that anyone really wants to think about, but it's really important that there are trained people like Ian, Logan, Leroy go out and find people if they're in that sort of condition. So great question to kick us off, Wadena. We're going to head to our Shauna May Secondary School. Shauna May, you guys are like come out in droves every time we have one of these, and I love it. So if you want to unmute your mic in this Fixins class, I'll head to you guys and take us away with our second question. Hey, guys.
Here's the mic. Here's the camera right here, Ashman. They're ready for it.
How can they handle the cold?
How can the people or the dog or both?
The people or the dog?
The people.
The people. How do you handle the cold out there, guys?
With great difficulty. Layering.
Yeah, good clothes.
Yeah, and Leroy's fine. So he's naturally able to stay out in the cold. He has a really thick coat, so you'll stay with him and he'll work down to -35, -40 for sure, Celsius.
Wow. We have America's
actually cold. We try not to go outside too much.
Yeah. This is you mentioned a temperature that for our American friends joining us today, -40 is the same in both temperatures, so it's equally awful in Fahrenheit or Celsius when you get that cold. Great follow-up for Logan from Miss Mustard's class, Tribune Drive Public School. Welcome in Brampton. Logan, do you think your job is hard or fun or both hard and fun at the same time?
It's hard and fun at the same time. Living with the craziest dog in the entire universe can be pretty tough. but getting to work with him every day is awesome. Yeah, it can be really tough, but it can be really fun and really rewarding.
Fantastic. There was actually a poll, and Leroy was voted the craziest dog in the entire universe. There's little known fact. It broke the web for a while. Bayside Public School folks, Ms. Eibel's class, they're joining us on StreamYard. The devices aren't on, but they wanted to ask, what happens if your equipment breaks? And this is for both of you. You're showcasing all this cool gear that you have. If it fails in the field, do you have a recourse or what?
Yeah.
Well, I carry spares and a repair kit, and then I have my coworkers too. So we have other people that we rely on, and yeah, we try to think of the inevitable, but sometimes things break, and then we make do with what we got.
I use Ian's stuff with mine.
Oh, great answer, guys. We're going to head to our One American class joining us live, Ms. LePage's class. Welcome back in Alfred and Maine. If you guys want to unmute your mic and come on in, we'd love to hear from you. Hey.
How old do the dogs start saving people at?
How old do they stop saving people at?
No,
Start. When are they able to start doing that? Yeah.
Leroy started out at 11 months. So he was young. He was little. So he was 11 months, and then he finished all of his RCMP schooling at 13 months, and then we were on the road. So a year old.
But that's like 7 in
yeah.
dog
That's
years.
There you go. If you kids were dogs, you could go save people like right now if you had the training. I'm going to take one from our WA Day Elementary, and they're in Fort Macleod. So we've got like all the classes in Fort Macleod, Alberta. I think like every class in the entire city that's here today, they always join us for these programs. You guys are amazing. So a big thank you to you guys at WA Day. Ms. Kurt's class had the same question that my mom had, which is, how do the dogs get so big, and do you always use German Shepherds?
Yeah, we do. So how do dogs get so big? I don't know. I feed them and they grow. Yeah, I try to make him go smaller, but he doesn't want to. And then I forgot the second part of the question. What was the
German Shepherds.
Oh, yeah. So German Shepherds. So Leroy, all of the dogs that we use are from the same line. Like they're all from the same family out of the RCMP. They actually breed their own ones. So we all use German Shepherds for our program. But when it comes to Avalanche work, it's a big plethora of dogs. As long as they have a really, really keen drive to hunt, to like look for things. That's kind of what we're looking for in the dog.
Very, very cool. Thanks, guys. All right, we're going to head to Petrolia. We're going to Ontario. We are crossing North America in this Q&A. It's amazing. Ms. Parrish's class, if you guys want to come on in, you are in the broadcast. Hi, 3-4s.
Hello. So, do you want to ask a question? Sure. Okay, go ahead.
When did you guys start using dogs to rescue people?
That's a good question. So 1971. So 1971, we had the first Avalanche dog and validated in North America, and it was Ginger. And I forget his dog handler's name. They were up in Jasper. Yeah, so they started the program, like they started having the idea for the program in 69, and 71 was the first one we had.
Can I just say that we get a lot of questions that are very technical like that, and almost no one ever has answers. And the fact that you had all that lore associated with it, way to go. Like if you made that up on the fly, it was amazing. But no, you actually knew all that.
I just did a speech about it, so that's the only way I know.
Incredible. Thanks, man. All right, we're going to head to our 2 Shawnee secondary other classes. Ms. Weinberger, I'm heading to you first. Ms. Kaffelt's class, I'm coming to you in a minute. YouTubers, keep those questions coming. We have tons of time for an epic Q&A together, so this is amazing. But Ms. Weinberger, come on in. Hey, guys, welcome in.
Come on, Pavlin, come in.
Hello. Nice Oilers jersey.
Yeah, now ask a question.
Have you ever lost a teammate?
Ooh.
That's that one.
We always found them.
Yeah.
Good answer. We haven't major injuries before with previous teams that I've had, but we have never lost anyone in my experience.
Yeah, with Parks Canada, not since I've worked here, but there have been a few deaths, but pretty rare, thankfully.
Well, and in a really literal sense too, like when you go out to find someone, how big a team do you have, and do you split off? Do you go together? Like literally, maybe losing someone, like they get lost too while you're searching for someone else. Does that happen or not?
Doesn't really happen. It could, but we all have radios and we have communication devices and maps, and we're prepared and we know the area. And usually there's a helicopter involved that can move people around and locate people and help with communication as well.
Yeah.
And we make a good plan so that doesn't happen.
If we lost a guide though, that would be pretty fun. No, that wouldn't.
I did say at the beginning that I would trust you guys implicitly. One of my favorite movies has a line where they say, "Are you the sort of guy that could like build a shopping mall with a toothpick and a pocket knife?" And both of you guys seem like you could. So we'll see if maybe a next broadcast future we can have that happen. Ms. Phelps class, I'm heading to you, and then we're going to take a whole bunch from YouTube before we do a second round. We've got like the longest Q&A time ever. This is amazing. Come on in, Shauna May. Hey.
Come closer here.
Is Leroy your only dog?
Actually, when I first started, I had 3. So I had Kai, Farah, and Leroy when we first started out. And our poor boy Kai, I think it was 2 years ago, he passed away. Our lovely big boy, Eleanor's favorite dog. And then we still have Farah, who's with Ellie, my daughter, and then we have Leroy as well.
How nice is that? Great question, guys. All right, we're going to take a whole bevy from YouTube because there's so many of you. I think the whole world's in on YouTube today. Ms. Bechtol's class wants to know, how do parks teach people about the danger of avalanches? We showed this video at the beginning. Ian, you were talking a bit about this. Could you speak a little more to that?
Well, we have lots of things that we do. We have some outreach to younger kids that we do. One of the things that I'm involved with daily is this avalanche bulletin that I talked about, and we write a detailed report every day that describes the avalanche danger for that day and the conditions, and it's targeted towards people that are going out and they have some knowledge, so it helps them avoid areas that have more avalanche danger.
I will note too, I mentioned at the top that we've done a whole bevy of broadcasts with the amazing folks at Parks Canada on our YouTube channel. We have a whole program that was dedicated to like avalanche safety support. So you type in avalanches on this channel, you can see like 45-minute broadcast all about this. We've done like 100 with Parks Canada over the years now, and there's some really incredible stuff there if you want to keep the learning going when this is done. Peak Series has even more too, so do check that out, folks. Great question. All right, a class in Tennessee. Welcome in, Miss McNulty. She wants to know, where does Leroy sleep? At the park, someone's house? Where's he laying down for the night?
He's with me. So Leroy and all of our dogs, they come home with us every night. So after you're done working with them, they still come home. And then, they have a kennel. They'll have a big run or a kennel that they stay in. Leroy has a kennel beside my bed, a really big one, and it's really loud, and he stays up all night. So some days.
He's got a little kennel at the office too, right?
He does. He has a big kennel at the office too, actually.
Nice. The life of a canine unit in Parks Canada is really sweet. Like, we could all aspire to that as a future job. It sounds ducky.
Until you're picking up.
Cookie wants to know, when you had the 3 dogs, did they all go out at the same time? Was this like an armada of furry vengeance out in the woods, or what's going on?
It was actually, yeah. The 2 that we had were retired dogs as well. So they were retired Avalanche dogs. And then Leroy was the multi-purpose do-everything kind of dog. But yeah, in order for them to exist together, we definitely had to have them get along. So all 3 of them would be in the yard like an absolute tornado, running over the fence, smashing into windows. They're just absolute morons. But they had a great time.
I think we can take the most snippets from this broadcast and make the memes of all time in our history. So thank you for this very much. I'm going to take Bayside Public Schools question from StreamYard, and then we're going to go back to Saskatchewan. Wadena, I'm coming to you. We're going to do a full other round with everyone. You guys have been really gracious in this Q&A, so thank you so much for that. Ian, I'm going to target you with this. How do you put on your equipment? So you get ready in the morning. What's going on? Do you put on special things depending on what's going on in the field, or is there a path for this? Oh, we lost him. The connection just failed for a second, but I think we're going to get him right back. Yep, there we are. Sometimes when you're broadcasting from the mountains, you lose the tech for 2.2 seconds. Welcome back.
Oh, good. Yeah. So I always wear clothes warm enough so if I get a call, I can go outside and I'm not going to be super cold. And then I have a whole bunch of bags. And I have bags for different things, and I carry them with me, and I have a plan for what to grab depending on what the call is or what I'm doing that day.
Fantastic. All right. God, so many great questions. I wish I could take all of these questions truly, but I do encourage you, email us when we're done. We're going to get these to Kelsey, the team there. We're going to answer as many as we can after the broadcast. But we're going to go back to Wadena Elementary. Come on back in Saskatchewan, guys. Hey, grade 4s.
Have you guys ever not been able to find anybody on your search?
Ooh.
No.
Yeah. There's
I find
a
them
few. It doesn't happen very often, but there's a few people that we haven't found and are still missing. Yeah, one that I can think of off the top of my head, but it does happen. We do our best, and then often at some point we have to look at scaling down the search because we can't look forever.
Yeah. A great follow-up to this. How many people have you found? Like, how many people do you save in a year, all time? Do you have like a record? I imagine, you seem like you have a scroll, Leroy, that you could or Logan, that you could pull out of your pocket and just know everyone that you found.
213, I think.
What?
Yeah. So Leroy's found tracked and or found. No, I lied. I lied by 100 actually. 113, 213. What a liar. Yeah, 113. I think is where we're at with tracking and searching, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah, because I have to keep a log for all our records, so mostly by tracking, actually. Yeah. He's a good little tracker. He does a good job.
It's incredible. Ian, is there a competition going on between the two of you, or what?
I don't keep a log. But I'd say as a team, so this isn't me personally, but as a team in Banff Kootenay, there's 10 of us, and we respond to 300 to 400 calls per year. And that can be really simple calls that are just like a lost hiker. You talk to them on the phone and you point them in the right direction to some really complex thing, kind of like I had the other day where it took a lot of people a couple days to ski and use a rope and get this stranded snowboarder out of a difficult spot.
Yeah. Very cool. Thanks, gentlemen. All right, our fixing crew, Shauna May grade 2s, come on in and take us away. Hey, guys.
Keenan, come on up.
Wait, no.
Zach, come on up.
How old is the dog?
He's 5. Yeah, he's 5. He started working when he was about a year, like we were talking about before, and then he'll be done. So we'll retire him in another 2 years. So he kind of is going through his prime right now. We're really going to start seeing great work out of him, and we already have. And then he'll start getting a bit older from now on, unfortunately. So we'll start thinking about his retirement pretty soon. 2 more years.
Wow, that's wild. It's always quite amazing to me. It's like an Olympic athlete. It's like someone, they finish at 25 or 30 or something like that, because it's just not. Yeah. Do you have a fourth dog that's sort of in the works, being trained up at the same time, or not?
I hope not. No, I will go back to the kennels in 2 years, and I'll train with them for about 6 months. And when I turn up, they'll be like, "Okay, here's your dog." So you just get a new dog and off you go again. So you start again from there. And we have someone who's going to take Leroy from me, because he's a bit of a handful. One of his really good friends, and an old warden, who's going to take him for us up north.
Amazing. How nice is that? Miss LePage's class, we're heading back to the U.S. Alfred, come on in, unmute your mic, and you are good to go. Hey.
How much dogs do you have at the park?
1. So for the entire of Canada, we have 1 dog. It's kind of crazy. We hope to have more. I'd love to have another dog handler just for time off for me and for some downtime for the big guy. But yeah, right now it's just me. So that's why we do so much work. We try and cover everything we can.
Unexpected follow-up to the broadcast. We'll all write letters on your behalf. Make sure Logan can get a vacation. We want that for you, man. You seem like you're very dedicated. Yeah. Miss Paris's class, come on in, Petrolia, and take us away. Hey.
Ask your question. Okay, go on up.
What was the longest rescue you had?
The longest rescue. Ooh.
Well, probably about a week. There was one, probably 10, 12 years ago I was involved with, and there was some people missing on a big glacier close to Lake Louise, and it was really difficult weather, and we couldn't fly into them. So we knew it was one of these satellite communication devices that didn't tell us what was going on. We just knew there was an emergency, and there's an extended storm. We couldn't get in, and eventually we were able to get in and rescue a few people.
I'm sure they were the most thankful people of all time after waiting that long. That is quite incredible. So I'm really glad we got that question. Folks, we're going to take 3 more questions. I know we could go all day. I love your enthusiasm. Make sure you all stick around so we can do a big thank you and farewell at the end, because if any group ever deserved it, it's the amazing Parks team today. We're going to head back to Ms. Weinberger's class first. I want to note our Edmonton crew. Do all of you have Oilers jerseys? Like, you're the most dedicated hockey fans of all time. And as a Leafs fan, I got to say, I'm not really sure how I feel about it, but good for you. Hey, Weinberger.
Okay, go ahead.
After the dog goes into retirement, what does it do?
Ooh.
It sits on the couch and hangs out and has the best life ever. So Leroy's going to go to a lady named Anika, who was a warden with us in Banff and is really good at looking after Leroy. And she's going to provide him with a life that is befitting his work. So he'll go up north to her and live on a farm, which is kind of crazy. He's actually doing that. And he's going to probably go chase her horses and just be a general menace for Anika.
Oh, man, this is an amazing program. Live on an actual farm is an unexpected touch, so thank you for that.
Awesome.
I'm going to take one YouTube one really quick, and then Mr. Felt's class with a student in an Oilers jersey, as I said. We'll wrap up with you guys in 2 seconds. Ms. McNally wanted to know, are the dogs trained to ignore bears or other animals, or what do they do? Do you ever have, like, canine wildlife conflict?
Yeah, 100%. So especially in the park, they need to ignore all animals and all other people. So we spend a lot of time proofing the dogs off of those kind of attractions. We really don't want them, and we never want them disturbing any wildlife here like we would for any dog.
No. We got that question from several people. In fact, Ms. McNulty in Tennessee just shared the exact same thing, so I'm really glad we covered that. Again, we'll share some resources after the fact if you want to find out more about the canine and park patrol and everything else to keep the learning going. But we're going to wrap up with one final question in Ms. Felt's class before we say goodbye to our amazing folks today. Come on in. Hey, Edmonton.
How do avalanches happen?
How do avalanches happen? Ian?
You need a lot of snow, and you need a weak layer. So you get a bunch of snow that creates a slab, and then you have a sliding surface underneath. And then you need a trigger, and that trigger can be a human, or it can be more snow, or it can be the sun, or it can be a big chunk of snow falling onto it, or it could be an explosive dropped by an avalanche control team. Yeah. So that's how you get an avalanche.
There you are. As I said, we highlighted avalanches in one of our programs, and the parks team dropping things from helicopters and shooting things with cannons to set off avalanches is one of the most metal, amazing things we've ever featured in our history. Everyone should go to our YouTube channel and check that out. And again, this is part of our Peak Discovery series. We've got some really amazing broadcasts to come. We've got many more that we've done. They're all there. I will follow up with all our registered classes with a big email to keep the learning going. You guys are like one of the best audiences ever. This is one of the best programs ever. Ian, Logan, Kelsey, is there anything you want to wrap us up with before I bring in our classes to say thank you and farewell in a second?
Well, thank you guys for having us. I mean, this is pretty neat. But yeah, I don't know. Ian?
Yeah, nice to meet you all.
Fantastic. It is nice to meet you all. Again, we've had everything from Nova Scotia to BC, Maine to California today. International audience, thank you all so much. And for some of you who are new to this, I'm going to bring you all in to say a big thank you and farewell and generally just lose your minds as much as Leroy did. So Adina, Miss LePage's class, Miss Parrish, Miss Weinberger, Miss Feltz, thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Bye.